Kathy Brennan here, helping you to look better, feel better, and do better. Well, this week's habit is making a habit of choosing wisely. Well, what does that mean, and why is that a habit? Well, it's spending just a few extra seconds when you're faced with a decision instead of just making a quick, impulsive one. We are faced with decisions every day of our life. It can be a decision to respond to somebody or listen. It can be a decision to get involved or to not get involved. We get requests from email. We decide whether to respond to that email or not. And often we are just making choices without stopping to consider if it's really a wise choice for us overall. If this is getting me to where I want to go. We often just take the easiest, for example, tasks. I'm just going to take the easiest task right now instead of thinking, this other task is a little more difficult, but that's a better choice or a wiser choice for me to make because it's getting me to where I want to get further down the line. So just choosing wisely is stopping and thinking for a second before you make a choice. Often we choose based on the path of least resistance instead of what we know is good for us. That could be not having a difficult conversation. So you might choose to not have that difficult conversation at this moment, even though you know that's what's the best for you. Or you can choose to have that conversation because you're just reacting in the moment with anger or defensiveness or whatever, instead of thinking, okay, where do I want this relationship to get to? And taking a moment, a day, or a week before you have that conversation with someone. So you can see it can be either way, either having it too quickly or not having it at all. Choosing wisely is thinking about where I want to get to and how am I going to accomplish that by the choices I make today or in this moment. It's also looking at the long term instead of the short term. So the perfect example is saving for retirement. They say you don't need a lot of money to retire, you need a lot of time. So when you start saving in your 20s, instead of waiting till your 40s to start saving for retirement, you're going to have a whole bunch more money because things grow exponentially. So you need all those cycles for your money to double and double and double. That's the long-term thinking. Instead of in your 20s thinking, oh, I want a house and vacation and cars and I want everything, for example, that my parents had, or I want everything that the celebrity has that I want to be like has. Well, your parents didn't get to where they are if that's what you're striving for. And celebrities don't necessarily get there either without a lot of hard work, without a lot of investment, long-term planning, long-term thinking, long-term decision making, choosing wisely. So why is this a good habit to choose wisely? Well, you will get the most out of your life if every choice you made was wise and good and the right choice for where you want to get. It's not always clear to us right up front. And so as we make this a habit to think about what's the wise choice here, what is the best choice, not necessarily the easiest, not necessarily instant, it's going to help you get the most out of your life. Because if you could have some kind of magic power to know at every moment what the best choice was, well, your life would just rock. If you didn't even have to be tempted with taking the easy way out or tempted with ignoring the problem. If you weren't even tempted with that, if somehow you had this magic power to always know what the best, wisest choice was, well, your life would be the best. And so that's why we need to work on making a habit. I'm going to look at my choices as something important instead of just habitual. Like where I'm just choosing to eat chocolate cake at 9 at night because that's what I want to do. You're making a different choice. Or I'm just choosing to be late for work because nobody even matters. Like that, it matters to you. And you're showing yourself if you can be on time, which was another one of our habits. You're showing yourself you can be trusted. So making wise choices will help you get the most out of your life. It'll also help you feel better about yourself. Don't we all feel good about ourselves when we choose wisely, when we do the right thing, when we show our maturity, show how we can be trusted, show our own wisdom, show our intuition, show our insight? We feel good about ourselves when we do that. And that'll only happen when we're making wise choices. So we need to kind of look at each one of these little choices in our life as something to pay attention to, something to be aware of. And you are going to feel better about yourself when you see, and you notice, that turned out well because I made a good choice. Now, there are consequences to everything we do. And when we are making wise choices, we have positive consequences coming out of that. Make a good choice, you treat someone kindly, whether they treat you kindly back, you feel good about yourself. And if you've made 100 kind choices, you're going to get 90 or 95 things of kindness coming back to you. So the consequences will naturally play out. They'll be positive. I am all about sleep. Sleep is so important. If I don't get enough sleep, I am going to be tired. If I do get enough sleep, I'm going to be more alert. So there are consequences to the amount of sleep I get. So when I choose when to get to bed, how to get to bed, like am I stressed out? Am I all jacked up on caffeine? Am I fretting over the day's events? That's not going to give me a good night's sleep. I need to make conscious choices about when I last look at my phone before I go to bed, when and what I've eaten that evening, how I'm calming my mind in order to prepare it for sleep. So these seemingly little things have consequences in any way, shape, or form. So it's a good habit to choose wisely, because then there will be good, positive consequences in your life. So how can you form this habit? Well, like every habit I'm talking about, it's important to start small. First of all, notice the choices you're making simply out of habit. Start to pay attention. And then begin to take one moment, I'd say 3 to 5 seconds, which can seem very long, to think your options through. Even in responding to other people, that's one where I just always respond so quickly. To stop and think and consider, is this a good thing to say? Is this a bad thing to say? Will it matter in 5 days, 5 weeks, or 5 months, or 5 years? Will this matter, what I'm saying right now, or how I react, or what I do? So just start really small and start being aware of the places where you're making these automatic choices, and instead of taking a few seconds. And then be aware of those short, impulsive, easy decisions. Think about where those are getting you. I'm just thinking right now about, off the top of my head, on the golf course. I like to golf. I'm not a great golfer, and I enjoy golf. I enjoy being outside and walking around. It's usually pretty with friends. So a short, impulsive, easy choice that I can make on the golf course is to, after one of my shots, if it doesn't go where I want, to say something negative. It's just a habit. Instead of stopping to think, okay, that was a shot, and then just moving on to the next one. Because that constant 110 negative thoughts about my shots on the golf course leads me to a place where I just continue to not be happy on the golf course. So again, just be aware. It could be the silliest thing. Oh, negative thinking. This is also a huge, huge thing I talk about often. I'll talk about it again right now, because negative thinking is a choice you're making. It may seem automatic or you can't change it, but I know that you can. It's absolutely possible. And if you're not aware that you're thinking negatively, you're not even aware of all the bad consequences that are happening because you're doing this negative thinking. So the way I got rid of my negative thinking after 35 years of doing it, this was not my idea, someone else came up with it. I would write on a piece of paper every negative thought that came into my mind. Now, at first, this was very challenging. And my example always is, because I was a young mother at the time, I would write, I'm the worst mom in the world. Because those are the thoughts that were rolling around in my head. And then I replaced that thought with, I'm a mom, I love my children. That is the truth. And so the short-term, impulsive, easy thought was to be in a negative state of mind. And when I started to write it down, it just gave me a second, and then I wrote the truth down, I changed my negative thinking. And then it made my life much, much better, because walking around thinking negatively about yourself, about others, about situations, about the future, about the past, that really makes your life difficult. So choosing wisely, another really good result of this is you will see how you form it is when you begin to think about how your decisions affect your coworkers, or affect your spouse, or affect your children, or affect your friends. Like, your decisions affect all those people close to you. And I'm here to tell you that those decisions have ripple effects. So it doesn't just impact those people close to you. So your choices are important for the greater good of our society. They really are. You might think, oh, I'm just thinking negative. Nobody even knows because it's all in my mind. But I'm telling you that negative thinking, or those biting remarks to other people, those are having ripple effects and affecting our society. And if you start just with yourself, each one of us can do this, to change our own choices and choose wisely, we will make this a better place to live. We really will. Now, you might have heard, choose your friends wisely. This is a good one. There's a reason you hear that saying, because we become like the 5 people we spend the most time with. It's true. It's just what I was talking about, this ripple effect. So choose your friends wisely. Do not spend time with people who are moving you in a direction that you don't want to go. So I will add to choose your friends wisely, I'm going to add choose your faith wisely. We all have faith. This is not necessarily a religious thing, although you might have your faith. That might be where your faith is wrapped up. And We all have faith or not in ourselves. We can have faith or not in our spouse, in our children, in our friends, in the place we work, in our community, in our world. Know what you have faith in. Challenge it. Define it. Make sure you know what it is and choose it wisely. Do not just go willy-nilly with whatever the current YouTube video, here you are, is saying, or what your parents say, or what your faith community says. It's up to each one of us to choose our faith wisely. This too will make the world a better place. And so choosing your friends wisely will improve your mental health. Choosing your faith wisely will improve your spiritual health. And choosing your food wisely will change your physical health. It's one of the components: eating, moving, and sleeping. But choose your food wisely. Everything that goes in your mouth absolutely has an impact on how you feel and how you perform and how you show up. So choose your food wisely. That's not just about you. It's about you and everybody around you. So make a habit of choosing wisely. Be well.